Have you ever wondered what separates those who remain calm during life's storms from those who are constantly overwhelmed by their emotions? The answer lies not in avoiding challenges, but in mastering the art of emotional control through silence and intentional practice. Today, I'm going to reveal 12 powerful Stoic habits that will help you build unshakable inner peace, allowing you to navigate life's turbulent waters with grace and confidence. These aren't just theories. They're time-tested practices that have helped countless individuals transform their relationship with emotions, turning inner chaos into profound tranquility. But here's what makes this different. We're not talking about suppressing your feelings or becoming cold and distant. Instead, you'll learn how to channel your emotional energy in ways that serve you, creating a foundation of strength that nothing can shake. Before we dive in, I ask that you leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications so you don't miss any new videos. And if you're interested, at the end of the video, access our exclusive content that's in the pinned comment. Now, let's begin this transformative journey together. Habit number 1, morning silence ritual. Imagine starting each day not with the chaos of notifications, news, and immediate demands, but with a sacred pocket of silence that belongs entirely to you. The ancient Stoics understood something profound. The first moments of your day set the tone for everything that follows. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, would begin each morning with quiet contemplation, preparing his mind for whatever challenges lay ahead. This morning silence ritual isn't about meditation in the traditional sense. It's about creating space before the world rushes in. Before you check your phone, before you speak to anyone, before you allow external demands to claim your attention, you sit in silence. Just 5 minutes. That's all it takes to start. In this silence, you're not trying to empty your mind or achieve some mystical state. You're simply observing, noticing your thoughts, acknowledging your feelings, and grounding yourself in the present moment. Think of it as putting on your emotional armor before entering the battlefield of daily life. When you practice this consistently, something remarkable happens. You develop a gap between stimulus and response. Instead of reacting immediately to whatever the day throws at you, you create space. Space to choose, space to think, space to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. This single habit can transform your entire emotional landscape, giving you control where chaos once reigned. Habit number 2, the practice of premeditation. The Stoics had a fascinating practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Before you dismiss this as pessimistic, understand what it really means. It's the art of preparing your mind for challenges before they arise. Seneca wrote extensively about this, explaining that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, but that strategic imagination can actually strengthen us. Here's how it works. Each day, spend a few minutes considering what difficulties you might face, not to worry about them, but to prepare for them mentally. What if that important meeting doesn't go as planned? What if someone criticizes your work? What if you experience an unexpected setback? By contemplating these possibilities in advance, you remove their power to shock and overwhelm you. You're essentially training your emotional immune system, building resistance to life's inevitable difficulties. When challenges do arise, and they will, you won't be caught off guard. Instead, you'll think, this is one of the things I prepared for. This practice transforms anxiety into readiness, fear into confidence. It's not about being negative, it's about being prepared. And preparation is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Habit number 3, observing your emotional triggers. Most people go through life as emotional puppets, pulled by invisible strings they don't even know exist. Someone makes a comment and rage flares. A situation doesn't go as planned and despair takes over. A minor inconvenience and frustration consumes the entire day. The Stoics taught something revolutionary. You are not your emotions, and you can observe them without being controlled by them. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This habit is about becoming a scientist of your own emotional life, studying your triggers with curiosity rather than judgment. Start keeping a simple emotional journal. When you feel a strong emotion arising, pause and ask yourself, what just happened? What story am I telling myself about this situation? Is this reaction proportional to what actually occurred? Often, you'll discover that your emotional reactions are based on interpretations, not facts, on stories you're telling yourself, not reality. For example, if a colleague doesn't respond to your email, you might create a story. They're ignoring me. They don't respect me. I'm not valued here. But the reality might be they're busy, they forgot, or they haven't checked their email yet. By observing your triggers, you begin to see the gap between what happens and what you make it mean. And in that gap lies your freedom. The freedom to choose a different response, a different story, a different emotional experience. Habit number 4, the evening review. Just as the morning silence prepares you for the day, the evening review helps you learn from it. Seneca practiced this religiously, examining his day each evening. Where did I react poorly? Where could I have shown more wisdom? What can I learn from today's challenges? This isn't about beating yourself up or dwelling on mistakes. It's about extracting wisdom from experience. Set aside 10 minutes before bed for this practice. Review your day with honest but compassionate eyes. Ask yourself, when did I lose my emotional balance today? What triggered it? How could I respond differently next time? Also, celebrate your victories. When did I maintain my calm? When did I choose wisdom over impulse? When did I act according to my values rather than my immediate feelings? This practice creates a powerful feedback loop. You're not just living through your days, you're learning from them, constantly refining your emotional responses. Over time, you'll notice patterns. You'll see that certain situations consistently trigger certain emotions. And with that awareness comes power, the power to change. The evening review transforms every day into a classroom and every challenge into a teacher. Habit number 5. Controlled exposure to discomfort. Modern life is designed for comfort. We have climate control, on-demand entertainment, instant food delivery, and countless conveniences. But the Stoics understood something. We're forgetting. Comfort can make us weak, while deliberate discomfort can make us strong. Marcus Aurelius would regularly sleep on a hard floor, not because he was masochistic, but because he wanted to remind himself that he could endure hardship if necessary. This habit is about intentionally exposing yourself to small discomforts to build your emotional resilience. Take cold showers. Go without a meal occasionally. Exercise beyond your comfort zone. Have difficult conversations instead of avoiding them. Say no when you want to please everyone. Sit with boredom instead of reaching for your phone. These small acts of voluntary discomfort do something profound. They prove to you that you're stronger than you think. They show you that discomfort is temporary, that you can survive it, even grow from it. When you regularly practice controlled discomfort, life's involuntary discomforts become less overwhelming. You develop a quiet confidence. I've been uncomfortable before. I know I can handle this. This doesn't mean seeking suffering for its own sake. It means strategically building your capacity to endure so that when life inevitably brings challenges, you're ready. Habit number 6, the art of the pause. In the space between stimulus and response lies your power to choose. But most people live without that space, reacting instantly to whatever happens and usually regretting it later. The Stoics practiced what we might call the art of the pause, the deliberate practice of creating a gap before responding. Someone insults you. Pause. You receive bad news. Pause. You feel anger rising. pause. This isn't about suppression or denial. It's about giving yourself time to choose your response rather than defaulting to your conditioning. Here's a practical technique. When you feel a strong emotion arising, take 3 deep breaths before responding. In those few seconds, ask yourself, is my immediate reaction aligned with my values? Will I be proud of this response? Tomorrow, what would the wisest version of myself do right now? Often, you'll find that your initial impulse would lead to regret, while the response you choose after pausing serves you better. This habit transforms you from reactive to responsive, from someone tossed about by emotional waves to someone who navigates them skillfully. Master the pause, and you master yourself. Habit number 7, negative visualization. This might sound dark, but it's actually one of the most liberating practices. The Stoics taught, regularly visualize losing the things you value most, not to make yourself miserable, but to appreciate them deeply while you have them. Imagine your health failing. Visualize losing your job. Consider what life would be like without your loved ones. This practice does 2 powerful things. First, it makes you deeply grateful for what you have right now, transforming taking things for granted into profound appreciation. Second, it prepares you emotionally for loss, which is inevitable in human life. When you regularly contemplate loss, you hold things more lightly. You appreciate without clinging. You love without desperate attachment. This doesn't mean you care less. It means you care more wisely, with less fear and more presence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." This radical acceptance of impermanence and loss doesn't lead to despair. It leads to freedom and deeper appreciation for the present moment. Habit number 8, speaking less, listening more. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In our age of constant self-expression, this ancient wisdom is more relevant than ever. Most people don't really listen. They just wait for their turn to talk. They're so busy preparing their response that they miss what's actually being said. This habit is about reversing that tendency, making silence and listening your default rather than talking. When someone is speaking to you, practice giving them your complete attention. Don't interrupt. Don't formulate your response while they're still talking. Just listen, not just to their words, but to what's beneath the words, their emotions, their needs, their perspective. This practice does something magical. It makes you wiser and more emotionally intelligent. You learn more when you listen than when you speak. You understand people better. You make fewer mistakes based on assumptions. Also, speaking less gives you more control over your emotional expression. Words spoken in haste can't be taken back, but words held in silence can be shaped into wisdom. Make silence your friend and listening your superpower. Habit number 9, physical training as emotional training. The Stoics understood that mind and body aren't separate. They're intimately connected. When you discipline your body, you discipline your mind. When you push through physical discomfort, you build emotional resilience. Marcus Aurelius was known for his physical training despite being emperor. Seneca advocated for regular exercise as essential for philosophical practice. This habit is about using physical training as a laboratory for emotional mastery. When you're tired during a workout and want to quit, but you push through, you're training more than muscles. You're training your capacity to endure discomfort, to do hard things, to not quit when things get difficult. When you choose to exercise even when you don't feel like it, you're practicing discipline over feelings. The physical gym becomes training ground for life's challenges. You don't need to become an athlete. Simple, consistent practice is enough. Daily walks, regular workouts, yoga, martial arts, whatever appeals to you. The specific activity matters less than the consistency and the intention to use physical discipline as emotional training. Your body is a tool for building an unshakable mind. Habit number 10, memento mori. Remember, you will die. The Stoics kept death constantly in their awareness, not morbidly, but as a source of clarity and urgency. You could leave life right now, Marcus Aurelius wrote. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This habit, memento mori, is about regularly reminding yourself of your mortality, not to become depressed, but to become focused. When you truly internalize that your time is limited, trivial concerns lose their power over you. That person who didn't, like your social media post, irrelevant. That minor inconvenience that ruined your morning, insignificant. That grudge you've been holding, a waste of precious time. Death awareness doesn't make life bleak. It makes life precious. It strips away what doesn't matter and highlights what does. Practice this daily. Remind yourself that this day could be your last. How would you treat the people around you? What would you prioritize? What would you let go? When you live with death awareness, you live with more intention, more presence, and more peace. You stop sweating the small stuff because you realize it's almost all small stuff. Habit number 11, the dichotomy of control. Perhaps the most fundamental Stoic practice is learning to distinguish between what you can control and what you can't, and then focusing all your energy on the former. Epictetus taught, the chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control. This habit is about ruthlessly sorting your concerns into two categories: things you control, your thoughts, your responses, your choices, your effort, and things you don't control, other people's opinions, outcomes, circumstances, the past, the future. Most emotional suffering comes from trying to control what you can't control and neglecting what you can. You can't control whether you get the job, but you can control how well you prepare for the interview. You can't control whether someone likes you, but you can control whether you're kind and authentic. You can't control the weather, but you can control your response to it. Practice this daily. When you notice yourself upset about something, ask, is this within my control? If it's not, practice acceptance. If it is, focus your energy there. This single practice can eliminate the majority of unnecessary suffering in your life. Habit number 12, building your inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the inner citadel, a fortress of the mind that no external circumstance can breach. This final habit is about deliberately building this inner stronghold through all the previous practices. Your inner citadel is composed of your values, your wisdom, your self-knowledge, and your practiced ability to maintain emotional equilibrium regardless of external circumstances. It's not built in a day, it's constructed brick by brick through consistent practice of Stoic habits. Each morning you sit in silence, you're adding a brick. Each evening you review your day, you're strengthening the walls. Each time you pause before reacting, you're fortifying the gates. This citadel doesn't isolate you from life, it protects you within life, allowing you to engage fully without being overwhelmed. From this inner fortress, you can face any challenge: loss, disappointment, criticism, uncertainty, even death itself. Because your peace doesn't depend on external circumstances staying favorable. It comes from within, from the unshakable foundation you've built. This is the ultimate goal of Stoic practice, not to avoid emotions, but to master them, not to escape life's difficulties, but to face them with courage and wisdom. The inner citadel is your birthright. Begin building it today. If you've made it this far, it means you're ready for change. Leave a comment, click the like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring content. Remember, the path to emotional mastery isn't about perfection, it's about practice. Every day, you have the opportunity to strengthen these habits, to build your inner citadel one brick at a time. Start with one habit, master it, then add another. Over time, you'll discover something remarkable. You've become someone who cannot be shaken, someone who faces life with quiet confidence and unshakable peace. The Stoics left us a gift, a roadmap for emotional mastery that's as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. The question is, will you use it? Your journey to unshakable inner peace begins now. Take the first step. Your future self will thank you.